Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WTF podcast. It's week 14 for What the Football, and boy, do we have a lot to cover today. My name is Terry Fletcher. So I just read that Cole Beasley, remember him, wide receiver? He's expected to come out of retirement to sign with the Buffalo Bills practice squad. I'm telling you, it's not just in football fantasy, it's everywhere. They're really needing some wide receivers, and as we push towards the middle of December football and into January, trying to get to the postseason, that's what you're going to start seeing. But let's get to some of the, I hate to call it the absurdities, but some of the what the football moments around the league week 14. And let's just start with Thursday night football. I mean, last week was ridiculous. We had Baker Mayfield in Los Angeles. He's been there. It's discrepancy between 36 and 48 hours. But let's just say he probably didn't have a good grasp of the playbook. And what did he do? He had a walk-off win. And again, he just threw it to Justin Jefferson in the end zone, and they won their game. It was funny because that's who I picked up that day as my wide receiver in fantasy because I had somebody that got hurt. So it was quite the game. If you watched it, you just couldn't believe he was doing that again after not even probably knowing some of the guys' names, maybe saying, hey, number 7 or number 15, I'm throwing to you next. But it was really an exciting game to see and probably one that he will not forget ever. Now, I don't know how many of you saw the Carolina game, but the player in that game, there was a catch between his legs where he never got his hand on the ball, but the ball never touched the ground. It kind of reminded me of Bryant from the Pittsburgh Steelers a long time ago. But he caught it between his legs, rolled over, and it was ruled a catch. So talk about a what the football moment in the Carolina Seahawks game. And yes, they ended up winning that game 30-24. It was kind of an interesting Sunday because the Chiefs, they won over the Broncos 34-28. But we had several quarterbacks, not just Mitch Trubisky of the Steelers, that came in after Kenny Pickett apparently went down with a head injury. I think it was that second bounce after he was kind of he was running away to try not to be sacked and ended up getting sacked and try to get some extra yardage, and his head bounced on the back out. We haven't heard anything this week as far as what is still going on with him, so I guess we're going to basically assume he's still in concussion protocol. But we had several quarterbacks that also threw 3 interceptions. So Trubisky was one. Tom Brady was another one. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Geno Smith, again in Seattle. And everybody lost except the Chiefs. They actually came back at 34-28 to win their game. But because they've got Patrick Mahomes doing weird things and pushing balls down the field, no-look passes. If they didn't have him, it would have been a pretty big blowout because they were playing the Broncos, and the Broncos also had their backup quarterback in. And I don't know if you saw it, but, CBS, Fox, whatever station you are, you have to be careful with what you air. As soon as he got hit, he went down and he was out. I knew it. Now, I have a medical background. He was absolutely out. I knew that he had lost consciousness. Even my husband's like, he's not moving. And I was like, oh, shoot. They actually put the camera right in his face, and you can see that he was just opening his eyes. You guys, he's got a family. He's got a wife. He's got kids. Stop doing that. That's a what the football are you thinking? So don't do that. But we had some definitely concussed between Pickett, between Russell Wilson, which I think his huge hit to the head, plus he has a huge knot where you can see it on his temple, that he's probably not going to be playing next week, I should say, coming into the game. It was gross just to see that. The Jets lose to Buffalo after James White gets hurt. Flacco comes in and he throws 2 interceptions. Now, the weather wasn't great. It was that sleet you find in Buffalo, but honestly, it was interception city for the NFL Week 14. There wasn't a quarterback that did not throw an interception in a game, and some multiple, as I mentioned. So, there's also a question, too, that comes up quite a bit, or it's come up this week. And there was even a small poll that was done, thank God Tomlin doesn't listen to polls, of who should start at quarterback if Kenny can't go in. Should it be Mitch Trubisky or should it be Mason Rudolph? Come on, people. Trubisky, he's very aggressive. I'm not happy that his vision when he, then the same exact play to Pat Freiermuth, when we got down into the red zone, was to throw it down the middle and not see in his peripheral who was around him. But he got us down to the red zone. I mean, think about that. He goes all the way down the field. His throws are on target, except, again, for those 3 interceptions. The one he threw up in the air, that was ill-advised. The one that bugs me the most was the second one. The first one, you're like, oh, shoot, we had such momentum. The second one, you're like, are you kidding me right now? Talk about what the football. Even the announcers are like, he did it again. The third one, I was like, this isn't going to be good. And he threw it a little bit short. But who would I want in there? And, if it's not Kenny, it's Mitch. So I just don't think that's a conversation. Remember who's getting first team reps at practice, who's actually getting the backup reps. And, if you're Mason, you're probably either getting no reps or dealing with the practice squad. And do we really want to do that? No, we don't want to do that. And also, I know you hate to hear this, but they're paying Mitch $8 million. So that's going to be a factor there as well. Tampa Bay. So Tom Brady. Now, I know some of you, I think he's the GOAT. I do. I wasn't a fan of his when he was in New England because obviously AFC team, but he's 45 years old. He's been in the league, 24 years now. And they're still first in the South NFC division. They're 6-7 because he lost. Boy, did he lose his butt to the 49ers. And it was actually with Brock Purdy. They called him Mr. Irrelevant. I think now they have to call him relevant since Jimmy Garoppolo's down right now with injury. But he also threw the 3 interceptions, as I mentioned. One of the guys that caught it, one of the defensive backs, Dre Greenlaw, he actually went up to Brady after the fact, asked him to sign the football that he threw to him from the interception. And Brady was a good sport. I mean, to me, I'd look at him like, yeah, dude. Yeah. But you know what? Brady was a good sport. He's been around a long time. These are young guys. But here's the thing. Read the room. So Dre says to him, he goes, oh, I was total fangirl. I saw it his post presser. He goes, I was a fangirl. I went up to him. I was giddy. He goes, but he was such a cool dude. This is also what he said to him. And to me, this is a total what the football no. He goes, man, I've been watching you since I was 2 years old. Do you think Brady really wants to hear that at 45 years old and still playing? I don't think so. So if there's nothing that makes you feel older than somebody saying, hey, I've been watching you since birth. So you know what? Read the room. Oh my goodness. So then in Miami at Chargers, this was an interesting game. So Miami running back fumbled. And then Tyreek Hill picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. I'm like, where's the ball? And all of a sudden it just landed in Tyreek's hand. And here's another thing in Miami. Miami ended up losing that game anyway, but here's the thing in Miami. You guys are a little bit spoiled out there. Now, I'm in California, and it's been cold here. Actually, we woke up this morning to 37-degree weather. Now, remember, we don't have ice scrapers or anything, so if there's any frost on our cars, we're using our credit card to try and scrape that off. Sunny, but cold. Now, I think it's up to 49, and we're freezing out here. I have space heater in my office right now. But here is what cracks me up, and this is totally WTF. Miami had space heaters on their visitors bench in LA, and we were 55 degrees that night when they were playing there. And this weekend they go to Buffalo, which is absolutely expecting rain, sleet, snow, and weather about in the 20s, maybe in the teens. Yeah, I don't think any of those heaters are going to help your players. You might want to get them used to the conditions. Otherwise, you're going to have the same loss that you had this past weekend. Now, I know everybody wants to anoint the Cowboys as, they're this fantastic team. They're not doing bad. I mean, in the NFC, they're not doing bad. But when you only win 27-23 and the Texans, by playing the Texans, who have one win this year, Houston is terrible. They're absolutely terrible. So look at who you're playing before you start saying, hey, we're this, we're Roosters. We're doing this. You won by 4 points against a terrible team at home. So you might, and Dak also did not do his best. So think about that. But on the flip side, The Eagles, I think they're headed for the Super Bowl. If I was going to make a prediction, they're the first team in. They're now 11 and 11-1, 12-1, somewhere around there. But they won 48-22. 48-22. That is absolutely crazy where they're at right now. And good for them. I think it's great for Philadelphia. I actually just checked. They're 12-1. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Invincible with Mark Wahlberg. Such a great movie, and it was all about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm definitely a fan of that movie. And if you ever get a chance to go watch it, it's a great football movie, and you'd probably understand a little more about what they're feeling when it comes to their record and just where the Eagles are right now. So that was kind of a cool thing. The Bengals beat the Browns 23-10, so we were happy with that, but it would have been really nice if we could have beat the Ravens. I think this was such a painful loss. Oh my gosh. The fact that we only lost by 2 points, we missed a field goal because it was blocked, so special teams screwed it up. We missed with the 3 interceptions that ended up being a 12-point swing. I mean, or even I think it was actually 10, but they didn't play well, and we were again with their backup. They didn't have Lamar Jackson, so that was very disappointing. It was a game we absolutely should have won. I believe we would have won if Kenny was healthy, and I hope he is going to be healthy moving forward. But it was just so. It was just so disappointing. I'm still just kind of reeling from it. And we can't blame, everybody wants to blame the defense. No, you have to look and see. When you turn the ball over 3 times and you also miss a field goal, look at the 2-point difference. We were in the red zone. If we get the field goal, we win by a point. So I know there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but that's what you have to look at. Now, who's on a winning streak? This is kind of surprising. The Lions, they've won last 3. They actually could sneak into the postseason after starting off, 1-6? They're now 7-6. And so they're 34-23 over the Vikings. That wasn't helpful, even with Kirk Cousins putting up fantasy numbers in the 40s. But it was interesting just to see how because they were on Hard Knocks, just to see how they're finally evolving. And sometimes it just gets late in the season, and that's where people are. The Monday Night Football game, Patriots 27-13 over the Cardinals. Cardinals lost Kyler Murray. It seems like every quarterback is going down, and they're not. It's not pretty. So he had a non-contact injury of the knee, and I guess we're going to know more about that this week. But we didn't hear anything. And then the Patriots scores, a lot of them were on the defense. So. Because Mac Jones, I don't know if you saw this, but their quarterback, so they have, which I don't understand how Matt Patricia went back to the Patriots after being the head coach in Chicago. And when he was at the Patriots before, he was the defensive coordinator. Then they brought him back in as the offensive coordinator, and him and Mac Jones waved him off. I mean, harshly on camera. I think that they would have hoped that 3 minutes or that 3 seconds wouldn't have been on camera. And then he was screaming last week, run the ball. So it doesn't seem like Matt Patricia is very good at offense. They wanted him back on the staff. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually keeps his job after this season. Matt Canada, we're just... When I say we, I'm talking about the Steelers. We're just so predictable. I think this last game was actually better when you look at what was set up for Mitch Trubisky coming in for Kenny, because obviously there was a pivot there, but I just hope he's not there next year. I'm just gonna say it. I've been saying it for a while, and it just he doesn't sit well with me. But let's hope that now with the Steelers, we have to actually win out for Tomlin to get his non-losing season, which seems like that's kind of what we're playing for. Believe it or not, we are still in the hunt. I can't believe we actually are still in the hunt based on the AFC look and the standings. It actually helped us for the Raiders to lose by that 1 point. Oh, that had to be painful for Raider fans. I mean, just at the end, just to lose by 1 point, ouch. And one thing that I thought was really funny in the AFC playoff picture, so the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Titans, they are all division leaders right now, well, the Bills as well, with Bills at 10-3, Chiefs at 10-3, Ravens 9-4, and Titans at 7-6, which we were in the South. The wild card, Bengals, Dolphins, and Chargers. And then, yes, we're at the bottom of the hunt, but it's funny because they flashed something on the Monday Night Football of who's in the hunt, the AFC playoff picture, and they didn't put it in the hunt. They put loitering. I just thought that was the funniest way to put it. That's a great saying. I think I want a t-shirt that says that. Who's loitering to get into the playoff postseason? So we have to win out. We need a lot of help even if we do win out. And let's just pray for some more wins. So everyone, make it a great rest of your week. Make it a great day. And we are on to Carolina. So talk to you next week.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.